On December 12, 1946, the monarchist Iranian army, welcomed by the joyous cheers of the people, entered Tabriz and Rezaiye, cities in northern Iran, liberating them from Stalin's occupation and his treacherous agents. The Iranian Americans for Liberty commemorates this historic day. Long live the Shah. Iranian protester transferred for execution amid calls for action. Mohammad Amid Mahdavi, one of the detainees from Iran's 2022 national uprising, has been moved from Evin prison to solitary confinement at Qizil Hizar prison in Karaj for the execution of his death sentence. He was convicted on charges of insulting sacred values and collaborating with the enemy, and has faced intense judicial and security pressures in recent months. His family has issued a public plea urging public and human rights organizations to take action to save his life. The death sentence of Abbas Korkuri, known as Mojahed Korkur, has reportedly been overturned. Mojahed Korkur was initially convicted of murder and later charged with corruption on earth and waging war against God, also known as Muharebe, in the case involving the killing of state-murdered Kian Pirfalak. Kian, a 9-year-old boy, was killed in the city of Izeh, Khuzestan province, during the national protests in Iran in 2022. The Pirfalak family has consistently stated that Kian's death was caused by the Islamic Republic's security forces and emphasized that they have no grievances against Mojahed Korkur. Negar Korkur, Mojahed Korkur's sister, confirmed the revocation of her brother's death sentence in a post on her Instagram account. Atena Fargdani, a cartoonist and civil rights activist, has been released from Evin prison following the completion of her 8-month sentence. Previously, on December 9th of this year, human rights organizations reported that her initial 6-year prison sentence has been reduced to 8 months upon appeal. Fargdani was arrested on April 13th of this year due to her protest artwork highlighting social and economic inequalities. She was subsequently tried on charges including propaganda against the regime and insulting sacred values. Moin Hosseinpour Robati, a writer and filmmaker advocating for constitutional monarchy, has been summoned to the judiciary. He was required to appear at the Beh Shahr Mazandaran province courthouse on Thursday, December 12th. According to informed sources, Hosseinpour Robati is facing legal and security pressures due to his support for the constitutional monarchy system and the Pahlavi family, as well as his production of videos and documentaries in support of popular protests. Reports indicate that he has been arrested and held in solitary confinement more than 10 times over the past decade. These sources also note that the pro-monarchy activist suffers from heart problems and there is a possibility of his detention when he appears at the courthouse. Parsa Gobadi, valiant activist, loses eye 2 years after injury by security forces. Parsa Gobadi, a 90-year-old brave dissident who sustained severe eye injuries during Iran's nationwide protests, has been forced to remove one of his eyes after 2 years of medical struggles. His remaining eye retains only 40% of its vision. On November 21, 2022, Gobadi was shot in both eyes by Islamic Republic security forces during protests in Kermanshah. Appeals court upholds sentences for 15 Baha'i citizens in Isfahan province. Branch 37 of the Isfahan Appeals Court has upheld the sentences previously issued against 15 Baha'i citizens from Baharistan County, including prison terms and fines imposed by the lower court. The court confirmed prison sentences and monetary fines for Mojgan Purshefi Ardestani, Nasrin Khademi Qahqarokhi, آزیتا رضوانی خا، شعله آشوری، بوشرا مطهر، سارا شکیب، رویا آزادخوش، نوشین همت، شورانگیز بهامین، ساناز راسته، مریم خورسندی، فرخنده رضوانپی, and Firuze Rasti Nejad. However, for Samira Shakib and Mojde Bahamin, the prison terms were removed, but they were sentenced to only pay fines. These individuals were initially sentenced in the lower court to 5 years in prison and fine of 50 million tomans each on unspecified charges. The Isfahan Provincial Appeals Court, Branch 37, issued its ruling on November 21, 2024, and the decisions were recently communicated to their lawyers. On Wednesday, December 4, 2024, the Semnan Court of Appeals sentenced Anisa Fanayan, a Baha'i citizen, to 8 years in prison. Previously, she had been sentenced to 16 years in prison and other penalties in the initial trial. According to the ruling issued by the 7th branch of the Semnan Court of Appeals, presided over by Judge Jawad Raisi and Associate Judge Ali Momeni, and conveyed to Ms. Fanayan on December 4, 2024, she received 7 years of imprisonment for establishing a group to disrupt national security and 1 year for propaganda against the system. Earlier this year in the initial trial, Ms. Fanayan was sentenced by the Semnan Revolutionary Court to 10 years for forming a group to disrupt national security, 5 years for engaging in educational or promotional activities considered deviant or contrary to sacred Islamic law in the context of a sect, group, or organization, and 1 year for propaganda against the system. Additionally, she was fined 50 million tomans, sentenced to 15 years of deprivation of Grade 5 social rights and her family's personal funds amounting to $4,350 seized from her daughter's room were confiscated in favor of the state. Ms. Fanayan, a resident of Semnan with a prior history of imprisonment, was arrested by security forces in late August 2023 and subsequently released on bail after a brief detention. On Friday, December 6, 2024, Arshia Behinain, a Baha'i citizen residing in Isfahan, was violently arrested by agents of the Isfahan Intelligence Department during a Baha'i religious gathering in the outskirts of the city. Security forces equipped with cameras and microphones detained Mr. Behinain and transferred him to Dastgird prison in Isfahan. They also confiscated the mobile phones of those present at the gathering while employing intimidation and violence. A witness at the event reported, before being transferred from the site, Mr. Behinain was tied to a pole in an open area by the agents. Nine-year-old Leila Moradi found dead after being abducted on her way to school in Malayer. 9-year-old Leila Moradi was abducted on her way to school in the village of Pari Malayer. Her lifeless body was discovered buried on private property. The National Welfare Organization contacted several individuals with disability who had passed the employment exam, instructing them to report to the Tehran Provincial Welfare Office Sunday, December 15, 2024. Some of these individuals who had traveled from other cities to Tehran arrived at the office by 8 a.m. only to find the doors closed. Retirees protest held outside Islamic Republic Presidential Institution amid police and heavy security presence, December 12, 2024. Retirees protest outside Islamic Republic Parliament. December 10th, Tehran retirees gathered before the Islamic Republic's parliament to protest the government's failure to address their demands. Tuesday, December 10th, retirees from across the country gathered in front of the Planning and Budget Organization to hold a protest. Retirees protest unpaid salaries and entitlements outside the Budget and Planning Organization in Tehran on Wednesday, December 12th. Tuesday, December 10th, employees of the Frico Edible Oil Factory held a protest in front of the Sirjan governor's office, located in the south of Iran, demanding payment of unpaid wages and insurance benefits. Tuesday, December 10th, approximately 4,000 contract employees of the South Pars gas complex, along with their families, held a protest in front of the company headquarters. They were demonstrating against wage injustices and the failure to implement the pay standardization plan. Telecommunications retirees in Kermanshah held a protest to voice their frustration over economic hardships and unfulfilled promises of officials in the Islamic Republic.